So this one's called You Are Perfect, and I won't share much about it beyond that it's a reflection of how I feel when writing poetry. So there's a little bit of poeticism there, even. Sitting in your writing chair and taking in the evening air, you are perfect. The songbirds glide without a care and settle on the tree right there, and you are perfect. No need to think about it too much. Surrounded by the springtime's green and reveling in the pleasant scene, you are perfect. Feeling oh so pure and clean, color thriving in every gene, you are perfect. You started to think about it. When all your joy comes from around, when life and beauty exist abound, you feel perfect. When flowers bloom up from the ground and thrive in all of nature's sound, you feel perfect, but you're not a part of that at all. Just watching from inside, you recall you feel perfect. But your rhymes start to sound so banal, your words transform to cliched scrawl, and you regrettably remember that you're far from perfect. And as the sun sets over the hill, you're reminded that your work is still not perfect. So you begin to feel slightly ill, as in striving for goals to fulfill. You are not perfect. As you struggle to write another line, going far past your natural bedtime, you are not perfect. You can't be yet. You can't do it, can't push through it, doomed to fail as mistakes trail from your drained state, imbued with sustenance, technology, lawfulness, divinity, because as long as you're inert, unclean, you'll never be a perfect machine. Will 1,000 more drops be enough to get you through the day? Will the power of intoxicating stuff hold fatigue at bay? Another hour of prolonged exacerbation, the incessant enervation, simulation, force, you can no longer get away. Under the heart is lit a raging fire, succumb to the insane desire to run away, can't stay being chased by all the chemicals, and the brain shouts out in pain. It yearns for rest to wane, but then caffeine stops adenosine from being placed in its receptacles. This is right. It's necessary, you tell yourself. Sustain the light, keep up and fight the emissary of life. The cold canary stares in caring disbelief, impeding sleep is a perilous and garish recourse. Now forcing a farcical fixation, incarcerated fascination. The facts that formulate to form a formal conformity, you're transformed, malformed by information to perform, and formalize for your eyes a format of self-enmity. Now the body deforms, a slight aside to what the mind has in store, a kind of mania defined by riotous encore, cold machine, a slate wiped clean, steel fingers keen to find the time undying drive to survive, to type and strive at the keyboard, and its morals are tossed. The plight subsides by denying exhaust, but it's now inclined to grind and twine into the cost. It further yearns, while you burn, stern manners churn, and mime sublimeness paradigm of crimes deprives and thrives in your bloodshot eyes that now belie your arriving insanity, marginalized to deify, while a prize at your humanity. And deep inside, a fragment cries, erratic tries to tragically emphasize, proselytize that you were meant to live mechanically, but to summarize. It's no surprise to finalize your sanctity, you must form a realization that you can't go on organically. You are a perfect machine. Exalt your silver sheen, unerring in its wearless smooth and undefiled glaring gleam, a peerless one whose flaring truth with stoic silent clarity, unparalleled in bearing fruits with undefiled parity, uncaring if your eyes subscribe, reviling all sincerity, for you sit on high, now cured of every irregularity, in chair of iron, thus proscribe all actions of vulgarity, impairment exiled, mistakes are signs of infracting your prosperity. To prosper is to perform, to play, with perfect part just plug away, it's precious that you primal programs for perfection you pine to portray. So checking time and time again, you ensure that nothing is to amend. You're sure that perfect pertinence to your work is the only way to maintain ascension. But peering closer, you perceive perforations perfunctorily puncturing your shining surface, appearing over pristine protection of petty perturbance to fulfilling your purpose. But then a searing blow, a demeaning, dangerous, dreaded flow of heat impedes your perfect work, rendering you worthless. You'll never be. Now the body deforms, a misalignment in mind's broken core, a kind of disquieting, riotous uproar, remold machine with faults between, steel plating keen to cauterize, the dying cry to survive to try and write a few lines more, and its power is lost. The fight subside, recognizing exhaust, its mind is inclined to bind and minimizing the pain's cost. The shrapnel screams as you redeem from deep inside a life sublimeness paradigm of crime that thrives in your bloodshot eyes that now belie your underlying humanity. The sclera's lines exemplify the heart's decrying of vanity. So from inside your morals rise to restore restore a real normality, emphasizing that it's wise not to withhold emotionality. To finalize, it's no surprise to realize capacity you must naturalize. You can't stay alive any way but organically. You will never be a perfect machine. You will stop trying, stop pining for the empty infinity. You will stop grinding, stop binding yourself to a hollow divinity. You will stop driving, stop fighting yourself, stop riding, stop flying towards that black sun that monopolizes your pride and provides nothing else. You will stop rhyming, because no word needs to match a particular sound or beat, because your communication is a reflection of who you are and doesn't require unyielding, flawless organization, because your personage is not a puzzle. It is not created to be solved or put together. There is no way you could be a portrait, a caricature, an archetype, a dependable, flawless model. There is no way you could live to manufacture like a factory line, making copies of undistinguished, unchanging, unerring, unvarying sheets of illustrious metal that are all equally worthless. There is no way you could let the cold, hard steel consume you, because the fluid, dynamic energy that keeps you alive and warms your core is what makes your body function. And so long as you exist, bound to the earth unclean, you will never be a person who needs to go back to say that line again as if they need to remind themselves of the basic principle of what it means to be human. Because it's a fact that permeates every organ, every cell, every fiber of your body as it grows and decays. Because it's a fact that you see in every moment of your existence, in each differentiable breath, in each irregular heartbeat, in each irreplaceable emotion, in each nuanced thought, in each discrete viewpoint, in each individual hope, in each distinct path from life to death, in each circumstance of error and weakness. So when you again feel fatigue gripping at you and your thinking starts to lose its straightness, you accept it blissfully, like it's the most righteous thing in the world. And your eyes, behind which still beats the blood of life, are caressed by warm and compassionate covers. And so you meet another end, another imperfection.